Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Coming up on today's show, Brian Urlacher, a Bears legend. He hopped on Johnny Manziel's podcast. Kind of forgot he had a podcast. Actually listened to most of this interview. It was pretty good. He is pretty excited about the current Bears, which I think is somewhat notable because he's been kind of down on the Bears in recent years. So definitely excited to talk about that. And then we'll get to another rumor that's out there as well. But speaking of Brian Urlacher, certainly one of the better Bears players ever, especially in my lifetime. Who's your favorite Bears player ever? I'm on the record for saying this. My personal favorite is Devin Hester. I wouldn't say he's the best in franchise history, but A, he's a guy that I watched, and B, just personal favorite, just entertaining player, right? I can't really say Walter Payton is a favorite. I could say he's the best, but I wasn't alive when Walter Payton was playing. So from a favorite standpoint, I would go with Devin Hester. You guys let me know down in the comments below. Okay, Brian Urlacher on I think it's called the Glory Days podcast with Johnny Manziel, had this to say about the Bears' current quarterback, Caleb Williams, which, if you remember, Urlacher was really down on Justin Fields and basically said the Bears don't have a choice but to draft Caleb. So he's been a pro-Caleb guy. He said, I think he's going to be really good. If you put him in a different situation last year, he could have been Rookie of the Year. You see what Kliff Kingsbury did with Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix with Sean Payton. And, we've talked about this, right? Like, Caleb Williams probably didn't live up to the hype as a rookie, but still did some good things, still put up respectable numbers, and we had no idea the coaching would be this atrocious. I mean, I feel like an idiot because I liked the Shane Waldron hire and I advocated for it. Now, I also said I'm not the one in those interview rooms and listening to Shane Waldron talk at the podium for his introductory presser. I don't know how you could be blown away by him in those interviews, but, from a resume standpoint, I thought he at least had quality experience with Seattle, but I think we found out that, when Pete Carroll, a guy like that's running the show, you don't need a Shane Waldron to be a leader in the room type. Well, with Matt Eberflus, you kind of need your OC to have prominent voice, and clearly that did not work out. But there were a lot of factors. Eberflus gets fired, Waldron gets fired, you change play callers to Thomas Brown. So I think that's a fair comment from Urlacher. Now, would he have beaten Jayden Daniels for Rookie of the Year? That's hard to say. Jayden had one of the best rookie years ever. I think a more realistic is he probably outplays Bo Nix. Like, if you put Caleb Williams with Sean Payton, I think it's probably better than what Bo Nix did, which was pretty good. So, I think there's no doubt if you put Caleb in Washington with Kliff or in Denver with Sean Payton, he would have performed better than he did in his rookie year in Chicago. That brings us to the current coaching situation. Urlacher said this about the Bears' coaching issues in recent years. He said, ever since they got rid of Lovie Smith, there's been no consistency in the coaching department. It's not the players' fault, but that's just the way it goes. But Ben Johnson's the man. I love that hire. I think he'll do a great job with Caleb. So Urlacher's all in on Ben Johnson. He likes his fit. He's in on Caleb Williams, which I think is somewhat notable because Urlacher's not one of these fanboy former players. He'll kind of be like, yeah, I think that guy stinks. Like, he did not like Justin Fields' game at all. And I think early on when he was saying that, I kind of pushed back and I was like, come on, man. Like, there's a lot of talent here. This has not been stable. Then as time went on, I probably turned out to be mostly right. Not that Justin got the Ferris deal, and I'm not here to talk about Justin Fields for 20 minutes, but I think there's clear limitations with Justin, and Urlacher pointed those out early. He has issues as a passing quarterback. But he's in on Caleb, and he thinks Ben Johnson's the right guy to unlock him. And I trust Urlacher when it comes to knowing what good coaching looks like. Why? Because when Lovie Smith was here, they had a lot of success. And then he watched Marc Trestman walk into the room, and he knew it was going to be a disaster. And Lance Briggs is on the record saying, Lance Briggs, I think he said this on CHGO, that he knew the first meeting that Marc Trestman talked to the players that it wasn't going to work. It can happen that quick. First impressions are critical. And when you go from Lovie Smith, who's kind of an alpha, to Marc Trestman from the CFL, that probably was not going to work out. And the proof is in the pudding. Lovie, not the perfect coach, but well above 500, got to a Super Bowl. Marc Trestman, fired after 2 years. John Fox, fired after 3 years. Matt Nagy, decent compared to the other guys, but after year one at 12-4, was not very good. Matt Eberflus, one of the worst head coaches we've legitimately ever seen. Then obviously Thomas Brown as the interim. Since Lovie Smith, 76-120. I thought about comparing that to all other NFL teams since 2013. That's got to be bottom 5 in the NFL. It's just a very, very poor record. I mean, it's well below 500. And that's why it's one of those deals where, yeah, I think it'll be different. I'm high on Ben Johnson. He's the guy I've wanted for 2 years. Urlacher's high on him, but the history does tell us that the Bears have gotten this wrong. Now, I think if this doesn't work out, we can look back and be like, well, they picked the guy they should have picked. You know, someone 3 years from now be like, they should have hired Vrabel. Once the Patriots job opened up, you weren't even going to get Vrabel. So that's a moot point. And even then, I still would have gone with the offensive swing with Ben Johnson. So I think the process, the outcome of who they got this time is much better than who they've gotten in the last 3 or 4 cycles. But at the end of the day, you got to go out and prove it. We have no idea if Ben Johnson's going to be a good head coach. We know he's a good offensive coordinator, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're a head coach. But it does make me feel a little better that a guy like Urlacher, who's not afraid to let it rip and be critical, is like, yeah, like I like this hire. I think Caleb with him is going to do really well. So that does get me a little bit excited there. How confident are you in Ben Johnson? Scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not confident at all, 10 being very confident. I mean, I'm at a 7. I don't want to go too higher than that. Like, I do think it's going to work, but I'm hedging a little bit because we've been excited before, and it has not worked out. All right, you should always be excited for holidays, right? 4th of July just around the corner. If you want to get out around the grill, throw some burgers on, go to the beach, the pool, whatever, well, go rock your Bears 4th of July gear. You got the hat there. You got some different T-shirts. Also got some quarter zips as well that I'm not flashing on screen but are available at the link right here, chatsports.com/Bears4th. If you want to rock some Bears patriotic gear, it is right there. Link is available, chatsports.com/Bears4th. Go check it out today. Okay, this is kind of a loose rumor, but it's late June, and there's not a lot going on. So I thought I would just touch on it because the Bears, I still think, could use a running back. And Bleacher Report kind of threw out a list of trade candidates, and Najee Harris was on there. And I was like, that's interesting. They just signed Harris this offseason to a 1-year deal. And I was like, okay, let's talk about this a little bit. You look at the Chargers running back room. Amarian Hampton, apparently, we'll talk about this more in a second, looks fantastic. Had a great springtime. I loved him coming out of the draft out of North Carolina. You got Najee, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, and Raheem Rocket Sanders. I think this is a stretch from Bleacher Report. Had they re-signed J.K. Dobbins, remember they tendered him, and if no one signed him, he would have been a Charger. That would be one thing. It'd be like, okay, maybe Najee's the odd man out. With Amarian Hampton looking the part and probably already their starter. But most teams, especially with a rookie running back, they're going to have some level of committee, at least a second back that gets touches. They gave Najee Harris over $6 million guaranteed, up to $9 million. I don't think they're trading him. Now, if Amarian Hampton comes out of the gates firing and is a legitimate Rookie of the Year candidate, maybe they flip Harris for a draft pick before the deadline or something like that. But I don't think they're doing that right now. To me, there's a big drop-off from Najee Harris, who, say what you want about his game, has been a 1,000-yard guy every year of his career, to Hassan Haskins. Unless Rocket Sanders as a UDFA blows them away, I just don't see how Najee Harris doesn't end up having a pretty notable role there. I just don't think this makes sense. How rare is it, too, when you sign a player to a 1-year deal to then trade him before the season starts? I can't think of a single example. Can you? I cannot, especially a notable player. Again, trade deadline, if Hampton's balling out and they don't really need Najee and they can get a late D3 pick, okay, that's different. But I think Najee is going to play a role. This is Jim Harbaugh we're talking about. He wants to run the football a lot. And Najee Harris has been a guy that's taken on a lot of carries. So even if Amarian Hampton's their lead back, there's still probably going to be 10 to 15 touches per game that are available for another running back. And Najee Harris in that role where he's not the full-time starter, that's a pretty formidable number two, if you ask me, which is why, look, if he were available, I would be interested if it was a late day 3 pick, because I think Swift and Najee Harris, A, they complement each other well, and B, Najee can be that between the tackles guy. He can also play in wide zone systems as well. Again, he's got some limitations. He doesn't have a ton of wiggle. He's a little stiff in the hips. He's not going to make a lot of guys miss in space, but that's what Swift does. That's his role. He can be the guy that can churn out some tough yards for you. So, yeah, on a hypothetical level, I like the fit. I would be okay with it. pairing him with DeAndre Swift. I was in the camp of don't sign him in free agency because I thought they would get a back higher in the draft, but that ended up playing out. So, if this were to become a realistic possibility, I would be okay with throwing, like a sixth or a late round pick swap for Najee Harris. But again, I don't think it's realistic. Knowing Jim Harbaugh's DNA of wanting to run the football, I don't see why they would give away a 220-pound running back who can take a lot of carries in favor of only a rookie. So I just don't think it's realistic. But if it were, I'd have some interest. I think Najee Harris is a good, not great back, but he would pair with DeAndre Swift pretty well, I think. Tell you what, if the Bears make a trade, we'll make a video, and if it's a big trade, we'll go live. So subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications. Things are slow right now, but breaking news can happen in an instant, and if it does, we will have you guys covered here on the channel. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys soon.